Hey guys, I just wanted to interrupt our regularly scheduled program for something that God showed me this morning, and I'll probably cry, so just be aware. Sorry for the bad lighting too, but so I kind of feel like I had a big fail as a parent yesterday, and I think I was just feeling like a failure in some ways, and so I got up this morning and it was kind of interesting because when I was trying to go back to sleep after I got up in the middle of the night, I saw myself, it was like I saw myself walking on this up a mountain, and it was densely wooded, and there were pine needles on the ground, and I had like awesome gear on. And I was walking up this mountain, and I felt like if I just kept going I would meet with God. So I just went back to that place in my imagination this morning, and I walked up and I sat on the top of the mountain, and I saw out into the, high perspective. And Jesus came and sat next to me in my mind, and he was just showing me. He was like, "See, like way out there, like that's what I'm going for. You're looking at the next step to take on the pine needles, but I'm looking way in the distance." And I was like, "Is that wrong that I don't, that I'm looking at the next step?" He's like, "No, it matters. The next step matters, but just understand that that's what I'm going for." So then I felt like the Holy Spirit sat next to me on my right, and then the Father came behind me and he put his hands on my back, and it was just like I could just feel the shame from yesterday just like sitting inside of me. And it was like after a few minutes of him having his hands on my back, it was like he pulled this thing out of me, and it was a black cloak, and he threw it behind him. It just like pulled out of me, and he threw it behind him, and it disappeared on the ground. And um, I just knew it was that shame from yesterday and my performance, um, and I just heard him say, like, "You're my daughter. I'm well pleased with you." And so after a little while, I turned to him and I hugged him and I started crying, and then he told me to hold up my hands. You have to understand, like, for years I prayed, I had this just like a good sense of like the fear of the Lord. Like, God, I want to see you, and I want to hear, "Well done, good and faithful servant." That's what I want to hear. I'm okay with all the rest. I just want to hear, "Well done, good and faithful servant." And I mean, I prayed that prayer. So I had my hands out like this, and all of a sudden, these like interesting little, like, they were round, and they were like leaves, kind of like pods, little pod leaves. They started just like appearing and stacking on top of my hands. And I was just like, "God, what are these?" And he said, "They're your rewards." And he said, "I'm better than you think." And so then I just tossed them in the air, and I landed behind them, and it was like I was rolling around in a ball pit, but they were my rewards. So Jesus came and he took his scepter of like of of judgment, and he ignited them, and they all went up in flames, and then they became diamonds. And I was swimming in diamonds, uh, and they felt like butter. Like, they weren't sharp. I was like, "Are these gonna feel sharp?" No, they felt like butter. And I just felt like the Lord said, "Every time you've turned to me, every time you've prayed, every time you've repented to your kids for," man, I'm gonna get a Kleenex. "Every time you've repented to your kids for missing it, and modeled humility and made it right, and every time you've spoken words of life over your kids, among other things that I've done in my life. But he's like, each one of these is one of those. And I just said, oh man, God, you are better than I thought. I didn't know, and so I'm done. Oh, so I pray for moms out there who have that shame app running in the background that I totally understand. I pray that this video pulls the shame out of you like that cloak that God pulled out of me. And I pray that you would know that your little steps of obedience and your little steps of faith and pointing to Him and your family, they matter. He sees them. And you're really creating an eternal set of rewards for yourself. So, and for your family. Sorry for all the weepiness, but I hope this encourages you.